Okay, so we're finally playing we're playing the Demilich Phoenix deck, and I think my list looks pretty good. Um, so just a few different decisions here. I'm just playing Demilich and Arclight Phoenix as threats. I'm not playing Murktide Regent. I'm not playing Stormwing Entity. I'm not playing Dragon Rage's Channeler. I have liked Dragon Rage's Channeler in these decks in the past, but I kind of feel like I had a hard time getting up to the density of instants and sorceries I wanted while also playing DRC. And I also think that you can only play Demilich and Phoenix as your only threats if you're also playing white, so you have access to cards like Prismatic Ending and Wear Tear to deal with cards like Rest in Peace and graveyard hate cards in general. And so like Prismatic Ending, I'm hoping to be like a really good tool for this deck to help beat up on hate cards. I'm playing 3 main, 1 side, which I'm pretty excited about. And I feel like this list looks pretty good to me. I'm not necessarily expecting this deck to be good, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping, huh? We'll see. Yeah, no Lava Dart. I think that with the addition of the White Splash, Lava Dart gets a lot worse. And while I do think Lava Dart is important to get up to a density of number of spells, Gutshot does a very similar thing, of being, a 0 mana spell. So, Gutshot does kind of play well with Mending, but I just think that you just have a hard time getting up to, like, the number of mountains you need for Dart. I mean, we have 5 here. It's not that bad, but I think this list looks a little bit cleaner without it. Just not that into it. Let's keep this hand. I've got 2 options. My opponent's playing Luris, so I think against Luris, I want to leave up Lightning Bolt on 1, and then we can go Salvaging, discard Phoenix, and this is going to be a turn 3, get a Phoenix back. Jumpstart reads discard card. Yeah, I know how Jumpstart works, but I don't know. I think that I'm not that excited about that card, to be honest. Cool suggestion though. You can unmark grave for Ploy. Well, you can unmark grave for Faithful Mending, right? It's not like really any different. Mending maybe is a bit better. Not the same. Hey, Nicholas. Alright, so my main phase is to play around counter magic. Few too many lands, but if they play a creature for me to ending, we do get a Phoenix back next turn. We can loot away a land with the rebound here. Looks like they're playing Grixis Dress Down. Great deck. Oh, no, they are not. But we can go Prismatic Ending this, Serum Visions, and get it back a Phoenix here, which is going to be pretty good turn 3. Guess let's Serum Visions first. Mending is pretty good against Scourge of the Skyclaves. Alright, a wee bit flooded, huh? Wee bit flooded. And you know what happens when you're flooded on the first match with the new brew. Chat loses their mind, declare the deck to be wildly misbuilt. But don't worry, chat can fix it. Maybe I'll put it with Dash Ragavan into my Gutshot, huh? Do I want to Gutshot them? I don't think so. Not against the Shadow deck. Against the Scourge deck. Why no Lava Dart? I think with the White Splash, Lava Dart gets a lot worse. We're just having that density of mountains becomes like a bigger cost. And Gutshot fills a pretty similar role. No, I wanted to Gutshot that. Right. Serum Visions. So my opponent must not be playing Dress Down, right? Okay, let's just keep that on top, and then do I want to loot away both of these lands? Probably, yeah. Probably. And then I'm going to hold them ending, because if my opponent has a Scourge of the Skyclaves, I'll be pretty happy to like just gain 2. Although I could maybe play a land to play around a discard spell, because then I can still flashback of ending. Strange sequence from opponent. I was tapped out. That's a good point. They played around. They played around old Gutshot pretty well there. Didn't realize that. Nothing to read into there, of course, though. So it's got Thought Scour, myself. Mill over Manamorphose, Serum Visions, draw another land. Deck's terrible. Can I get a bad deck in the chat, huh? Let's make blue-white. We get flashback the Mending here, so we get more selection. Or do I want to Thought Scour and say this is more mana? I think I'll use the Mending. It's the same number of looks at a Phoenix here. Can't get back Demilich. All right. Although maybe I should have saved the Mending because they're probably going to seal of removal. I guess I don't really want to attack into the shadow. Did do any changes as per your I like the list. We did pretty well with it. I might end up making like small changes to the sideboard, but I'm pretty happy with the main deck at the moment. We're also 25 cards deep, and this is the only creature we found. We're down to 12. There's a good old Demilich, huh? Make blue here. Need to find something. Aspiring Landlord. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 out of 18 lands in the top 30 cards. It's pretty high. I feel like with 8 threats that'll be pretty common. No, you're like really favored to see 2 or 3 threats at least in the top like 25 cards. Should we save graveyard Mendings for we have creatures in hand? Yeah, maybe that could be the case, especially with the seal of removal in play. I think that was probably a bit of a missequence. Doesn't that 14-18 man's math break with fetch lands? A little bit, yeah. A little bit, yeah. It was still high, It was still high. Can we bring in the 4th copy of Prismatic Ending? I'll trim one of the 2 mana filtering spells. Trim a Faithless Salvaging. I talked about no DRC at the beginning. I felt like I couldn't get up to the density of instants and sorcerers I wanted with it, or like specifically like. I don't feel like you can put. You have to cut the gut shots or the endings, and you only play 2 of the other one probably. And I feel like the endings are really important to beat graveyard hate, and the gut shots are really important to have a density of 0 mana spells for your Phoenixes and Demiliches. Already kill shot. Oh yeah, we want the Aria of Flame here. Okay, we'll bring that in for game 3. Yeah. Sorry. First match with the deck. Let's keep this. Pretty similar hand to our last one. So they probably take my salvaging, right? Main deck surgical extraction. The problem with surgical is it kind of sucks, right? Like the card's just kind of weak in general. I think main deck gut shot's a lot stronger in the Ragavan and Hammer Time metagame. Card's just kind of weak, I think. So that's the Serum Visions. I think I'll bottom the 2nd Prismatic Ending. Maybe I would keep 1. I don't think I want to keep 2. Need to find another looting effect. Chain some cantrips together. Get that sweet Shark Typhoon deck. Yeah, we'll play the Shark Typhoon deck next. Oh, they're 4 color. Okay, cool. I don't think we saw any green lands last game. Okay, these are good. Keep both of those. Then we can get a Phoenix back next turn. You go Salvaging, consider Bolts. Might be better to just go Salvaging and try to have a bigger turn the following turn. We'll see, we'll see. Ending's all pretty good so far, I'll say. I bet they don't have Ragavan. If they're playing Shadow, Scourge, Darcy, Tarmogoyf. Lurrus in the hand. Alright, let me get Salvaging here. Salvaging. Oh, no, I shuffled away the consider. Oh, that's on me. Sorry. Alright, that's what I get. Well, now we'll never know how good it is. That's okay. Next turn should be pretty good. Did we get a Test of Talents type counter for artifacts or creatures? Maybe. Probably not for 2 mana. Maybe for artifacts for 2 mana. Can bolt them here. Kind of like that. Put them to 5. Then they have to take the Demilich. And then we have to draw kind of well off of our rebound. But they don't have another creature, and they're at 5. We have a Phoenix and a Lich in the yard. We can cast a Lich this turn. Dude, 2 considers. It's pretty cool. First time casting this card. So Gutshot, I think we keep Gutshot. Oh no. First time casting the card, saying yes, puts it on in the graveyard. Okay. No, put Manamorphose in the yard. A lot of happy accidents today, huh? Let's make a blue-white because we have a mountain in our hand. Another consider. No to Manamorphose in the yard. Then I think I still make blue-white. I guess I'll just be blue-red. If we draw Mending, we draw... Like, Mending's not even that good here. Very good turn, huh? Gotcha is lethal. The Demiliches don't have haste. Phoenix only has 3 power. Puts them to 1. Yeah, pretty good turn. I have like these matchups in the past. Like, just like your creatures are so resilient to their interaction. Got surprised he left in Tarfire. Didn't consider could be played as Esper Reanimator. I do think it could be, yeah. However, I think that like I liked the version I was playing that was playing the okay, so I think they're not playing Ragavan like I thought, so I think I'm not that interested in Gutshot. I think I'll play 1. They're playing DRC. But I think let's get the 4th Salvaging back. I like the main deck Chalice, and so I think that's like a decision that you're gonna have to figure out. Do you want Consider? Do you want Chalice? Right now, I think Chalice is the better of the 2 options, but it's going to be something that you'll need to test. Go with your gut, maybe. Has this deck filled to compare Aspirator? I've played 2 games with this deck so far, Kodiak, so it's you're going to have to wait to get my full impression of the deck. This is, we're going to game 3. I cannot give you a rundown yet. I think I want to Serum Visions this turn. It's not a bad draw. Yeah, the title is kind of a mouthful, huh? Maybe if we smush Phoenix and Demilich into 1 word, it becomes better. Maybe I'll just cut Demilich from the title. That's a lot cleaner. Yeah, I didn't end up having time to play League of last night. I was busy killing a sandworm in Pathfinder. But I like the list. I think the list looks pretty tight to me, to be honest. I consider strategic planning. I think strategic planning is not a good enabler. Like we have I think 8 2-mana enablers is the maximum. I think you want between like 7 or 8, probably not 6. But I think that 8 is like the maximum, and we have 8. And so like strategic planning is just like never gonna make the cut, in my opinion, in my experience, in a deck like this. Try to set up for a big turn next turn, maybe. Might not be able to. So I guess we could just bolt a channeler this turn. Next turn, flashback Mending. And the following turn, we get 2 Demiliches and a Phoenix. It's kind of slow, but we gain 2 live. Yeah, I heard Dune was really good. I watched a German streamer who got to see it. It's apparently already out there. Dude, they said the new Dune movie was like fantastic. Yikes. So maybe upkeep Thought Scour myself. Or maybe I just want to draw the Demilich. Just draw the Demilich. Still Mending, looking for a Prismatic Ending. I think I'll cast Consider. Maybe we can find a Manamorphose and just cast 2 Liches. Mending into the graveyard. Draw another Mending. Maybe I should have tapped this steam, but this land here. I think we're gonna lose. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of my first drafts had DRC in it. I feel like it's a card I wanted to cut though. It's like either play DRC or Ending. I feel like Ending's really, really important. Just to be able to have Outsta cards like this. There's Prismatic Ending. Perhaps 1 turn too late, huh? We'll have to draw like Untap Land, Manamorphose, something crazy like that. Sideboard Murktide Regent to fight Graveyard Hate like Relic, Lantern Spellbomb. I like the thought, yeah. I like the thought. These are the best 2-mana enablers, or these 3 cards are the best 2 mana, although you don't really count Manamorphose. Mending and Salvaging are the best 2 mana enablers for this archetype. You cannot play more than 8 in the deck. I think we keep this. Manamorphose is really busted here. You cannot play more than 8. 8 is in my opinion, the hard limit of 2 mana looting enablers here. So any suggestion besides these are going to be worse, unless I've just completely failed to find what cards are in the format, what enablers there are in the format. Anything you suggest is going to be worse, and is not something that we can afford to play. You really cannot. You just cannot play infinite 2-mana cards. There's a Mending. I think I'll wait on the Consider here, because we're also holding up Bolt. Is DRC the best 1-mana enable? Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about? Yes, DRC is a really good 1-mana enabler. But I'm of the opinion that you can't fit the number of instants and sorceries I want to play if you want to play DRC. You could play DRC. I think it's totally reasonable. Obviously, my earlier versions of this deck before... Ooh, Phoenix in the graveyard. My earlier versions of these decks have played that card in Image 2. I'm just trying to talk about suggesting 2 mana, specifically 2 mana enablers is not very helpful. Counterspell the Manamorphose, it's fine. Best back. Is Sting the Eyes a sideboard consideration? I don't think it's very good against the metagame at all. It's good against a couple of decks, but not very many. Sheesh. Gee. Blanchett, 6 months. Appreciate you, buddy. Alright, we got Shadow doubted. It happened. It happened. DRC lowers the amount of instant sorceries, but increases the likelihood of seeing the ones that are in the deck. ... Okay, well, so I don't know. I don't, the dot triggers me a bit, to be honest. But I've said let's just test this out for a second, right? Like this is I think a good way to build the deck. Obviously I could be wrong. This is my first draft. Let's just test it out a little bit, huh? Dot. Alright, hopefully they do not have a counterspell. I think I'm going to fire this off, though. You have more endings in the deck. Cool. The ending seems really good here. It's just like you can't fit ending in the deck, I think, with DRC. I just don't think the deck functions. Sorry, yeah. Are we out of stock of deck text at 50 points? I don't think so. They should be up there. All right, the Water Grave for the 4th color of ending, looking pretty relevant here. Let's hope we can find another creature. Only seen one so far. Flashback Mending. All right, discard Phoenix. I think we discard. No, we want to keep the Gut Shot because that's lethal here, huh? I think I just got channel points for this today. Is it still? The channel points were working yesterday. I didn't change anything else, so I don't know why they'd be disabled for today. But if they are, let me know, I guess. But I don't know why they would be because I re-enabled them for yesterday. So, but are they just not? Are they just not there? Do you ever wait to upkeep? No, my opponent they didn't counter anything there. They didn't counter the mending. So I really didn't believe that they had a counterspell, but they could have had a counterspell that costs more than 2 mana, so I think you're supposed to bolt. I think you're supposed to bolt there. Let me go ahead and cut the Gut Shots in this matchup, and then I'll bring in the 4th ending, and then I think 2 Flusterstorms. Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, we saw Chalice. I'm trying to think if I want 5 answers to the hate cards. I can also play Aria of Flame, but that card's kind of they have a lot of answers to it. I guess I could cut the 4th bolt for the first Wear Tear. I thought about adding a million channel points for 24-hour stream. I don't want to do a 24-hour stream. I would not do a 24-hour stream for if I was offered a large sum of money. I don't even think I would do it. It's I did a 14-hour stream 2 days ago. It was the longest stream I've ever done, and I was incredibly exhausted. You just gotta understand, at this point, lots of people have a million channel points, and I can't just be doing stuff like a 24-hour stream for channel points. It just is not an option. Yeah, but 24-hour streams are not good. I think I'll cast the Mending end of turn. How's Demilich been over DRC? Well, it's not really over DRC. DRC is more like a cantrip in this deck than a threat, to be honest. Because you're not even that good at enabling Delirium, and it's also true if you play Demilich, you are a lot more resilient to removal, which is nice because all of your creatures are really recursive, you know. Discard the Arid Mesa. I think we're really likely to find another land. Yeah, all your creatures really recursive, so you have a really good chance to just mostly blank removal by playing the deck this way. Dalton, 28 months, thanks, buddy. Yeah, so if I flashback Mending, I get to Phoenix the Teferi. I don't get to get back Demilich. I think that's fine, though. It does look like deck tech revision is closed. Okay, I'll see what's going on. Okay, we have ending for Chalice. We're really in bad shape if we don't get to do this, though. Okay, they purged the Phoenix. Great. Although, I guess I still don't get the Demilich back this turn. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, because it says everything's enabled here. I'll just toggle it. I don't know what's going on. How do you feel with DRC in the deck? Well, I think that I want to try this version first. We might end up playing DRC in the later versions. I know that I was saying that I was going to play DRC. I know I was saying I was going to play DRC, but I think that I kind of prefer building the deck this way for now. This is a really weird couple cards. I think I'll put this on the bottom, this on the top, and just Thought Scour over it. Alright, deck type for Kiskaff. I can unpause. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know why it's paused. That's fine. But Fist, if you want to post your link in chat, we'll take a look. Alright, so let's cast the Salvaging. Oops, need red mana. Serum Visions, spell number 2. Bottom, top. Lightning Bolt to Fairy the Time Raveler. We can cast Demilich for 1 mana. It is nice that we just don't have to really think too hard about what we exile with Lich. I guess we have the Demilich to flashback things. Yeah, maybe I should have left the Bolt in, actually. Yeah, these islands are from the new D&D set. I'm not sure what to do with this sideboard. Okay, so this is the Fax deck. Rise and Shine is interesting. I'm not sure that the payoff for these cards is high enough to really justify it, especially in the Prismatic Ending metagame. It seems like these cards are a big liability. They don't offer you that high of a power. If it's what you want to do, we can take a look at the sideboard. Are they Prismatic Ending my Demilich, and then let's Salvaging, discard Arid Mesa. I think you want to Scour before we cast Mending. Mending, discard Phoenix, discard Arid Mesa. So that's 3 spells cast. So I think maybe playing the land is bad, but I think I want to be kind of mana efficient here. Oh boy. Okay, well maybe this deck is great. Maybe this deck is just great. And maybe we're hitting a high end of variance, but I don't know. It seems pretty good so far, huh? The thing I'm feeling here is that the deck is too threat light. I don't know. It's like maybe you're right. This is our first draft of the deck, but also when you build a deck this way, when your only threats are Demilich and Phoenix, you're incredibly resilient to non-exile based removal, right? Because all your threats come back, and so any other threat you play, if you play DRC, if you play Murktide, if you play Stormwing, all of a sudden your opponent's removal spells are like live, and like you're also really good against Prismatic Ending because all of your threats cost 4 mana, and so that's kind of the theory behind being threat light here, right? And then it's also true that you have Prismatic Ending to like answer like the graveyard hate too, which is really nice. But again, this is just one way to build a deck. It's a very complicated deck to build. And let's just test it this way for this league. Okay, so I would play the 4th Urza. I think that you're playing, even if you want to be in on the Rise and Shine and Soul Artifact plan, 8 copies is probably too many. I would play like 6. I probably would play the oh, you need to play Thought Monitor. That card's busted. Maybe over like Nettle Cyst. And maybe over Thoughtcast. I would be playing Thought Monitor. And then it opens up your sideboard because you're cutting the Thoughtcasts, I imagine. And then getting to Fairy Time Raveler is a sideboard card I'd like to see a lot. I would like to see some Flusterstorms for the Cascade matchups. I would like to see some Tron hate. I don't know what your best Tron hate is. And let me think for a moment, but you seem to be like really, really cold to Tron. All right, 1-1, mulligan. Let's keep this. Put back second Steam Vents. I think Manamorphose is the best card in the deck. Ideally, you could hold those for turns you're going off. We might not have the luxury with this hand. Jeskai Phoenix has been fun so far. It's honestly like, I don't know. I really enjoy this deck, but it's really, really difficult to build, and we're still in a very early draft. Yeah, I think I have a really good first draft of the deck though. I'm pretty happy about the way the deck is built. But of course, still a lot to determine. Yeah, so let me go. I think I'm gonna go Scour here. We could try to like we could maybe have gone Manamorphose, Scour. Maybe that's better. We have 4 looks at a creature there. But I think Scour end of turn gives us like a better chance to find a creature for the following turn. I put together a list outside with DRC. It was a decision not to keep it. Yeah, so that's been the question we've been asked constantly today. Just to kind of briefly go over. If it's you can't, I don't think you can play main deck Prismatic Ending, or at least I couldn't find a good way to play main deck Prismatic Ending without DRC. Main deck Prismatic Ending is great because it gives you answers to like Rest in Peace, Chalice of the Void, Sanctifier, Invect, all the cards you're soft to, right? So I'm like really interested in main decking Prismatic Ending. And if you don't main deck Dragon Rage's Channeler, or Murktide Regent, or Storming Entity, all of a sudden your creatures are so hard to kill. They are recursive if you kill them with like Bolt or Heat or whatever, and they're like almost impossible to Prismatic Ending because they're 4 mana. And so your deck is like super resilient to removal if you build the deck this way. Where if you play DRC, your opponent have target for removal spells. So those are the thoughts. But obviously, DRC is really good in this archetype. Could end up being correct to play it. I milled over a Phoenix. That's really good for us. Maybe I should have tapped Fountain in case I wanted to bolt the monkey, but I don't think I really even do. Okay, only 1 Phoenix still. It's fine. Manamorphose. Mind's waiting new time. Mind deck a card that's good versus sideboard cards. So at least in the case of Prismatic Ending, right? Which is what we're talking about. Prismatic Ending is a generically good card that is like very rarely bad. That kind of happens to fit well for our deck's needs. Whereas other cards that you're kind of describing are going to be cards that yeah, deck is feeling pretty good so far. Other cards that you're describing usually you wouldn't like main deck other sideboard cards because they aren't generically good. They aren't going to be good in like basically any matchup. Prismatic Ending is a card that's good in almost every matchup, and it solves a lot of problems for you. So main decking it not only gives you a good card in your main deck, it also gives you it also gives you like a more open sideboard too. But it's it's kind of a little bit of a nuanced thing, right? What was the loss to? We lost to 4-color Shadow. The deck is feeling pretty good so far. Yeah, it's also true that DRC is like really good as a card filtering spell in this deck. It's not that good as a threat because it is definitely true that this deck is very light on ways to like actually make a Delirium. Yeah, we want to keep Gutshot, I think. Didn't you want to play Finale of Promise? No. This is something that we've also been talking a lot about, and I'm happy to keep going over it. But this deck is like Faithless Looting is not in the format. It is not in the format. The cards that you have to play to enable this deck are now 2 mana and not 1 mana, and this incredibly raises the curve of this deck compared to the old versions. So you do not have the luxury to play a really expensive card like Finale of Promise, in my opinion. Finale of Promise is very cool. I like the card a lot. It is way too much mana. It is way too much mana in a deck that already has a much higher curve than it did in the past. Yeah. Well, I guess they were dead if we gut shotted them. I think we're doing fine. Also, like, Faithless Salvaging doesn't get rebounded if you finale it, but that's a really small thing. Yeah, we have a really low sorcery count too, which you don't need a sorcery count because you're not playing Darcy. Can you fit iteration to the deck? No, you cannot. You cannot. This is all I'm doing today. No. You cannot play Expressive Iteration in this deck because you need the only good looting effects are 2 mana, and you are really, really choked on the number of 2 mana spells you can afford to play in a deck like this. 8 is the hard limit. We have 8. I've been saying this a lot. I do think that we can improve the deck together. I do think that there is room for collaboration here, and we can talk about it. But I'm telling you this: any 2 mana filtering spell you suggest is not going to make the deck, because with the way this deck functions. You have to play these 2 mana spells for your deck to function. 2 mana spells don't play that well with Phoenix in general. Salvaging is kind of like a bit of an exception because it gives you a 0 mana spell the following turn, which is why it's so nice. But you cannot play Iteration. As good as Iteration is, you can't afford to play it. It's just too much mana. Any other 2 mana filtering spell is going to be worse than the other options. And so if we're going to be making suggestions, like, these are not suggestions that I'm going to be able to entertain, really, because they just don't. They just really break our deck building requirements. How much have I played with the deck? I've played a lot with the deck before Consider and Faithful Mending entered. I think 18 lands is a good number. I think it's the right number. I feel pretty confident about it, but obviously opinions can change, right? All right, so let me go, I think, minus a... I don't even know what the worst cantrip is in the deck. Sorcery Speed's a bit awkward, maybe when we want to have more interaction up. But we did bring in a 4th Ending, and maybe I'll cut a Salvaging, too. With all these removals and counters in the meta, shouldn't Voice of Resurgence be a good card? It's not very good against Prismatic Ending. But Voice is a good card in Elementals, or at least it's like a playable card. It's also like, there are a lot of cards that are fine, and there are a lot of cards that are playable. And this is something that I talk about a lot, where it's like Kaya Orzhov Usurper is a really good card in Modern right now, or at least it's at least a playable card. But there aren't a ton of great black-white decks that don't play Lurrus that are going to want to play Kaya in the same way that, like, what deck is playing Voice of Resurgence, you know? All right, let's keep this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Iterations played for card advantage, and our creatures provide the card advantage. This me today, maybe. Yeah, counterspelling, all of chat suggestions. I mean, I do want to try to obviously always try to improve people's deck building decisions and try to impart good tools for deck building. It's, big focus on the channel. But I am counterspelling any 2 mana instant or sorcery suggested for this deck. I'm just counterspelling it. They will not make the cut, besides the ones that are already here. Unless I have just completely failed you and there is a better enabler than Salvaging or Mending, and I really don't think there is. I think we just bolt this main phase. You need for counterspell? No, I don't think so. You always need to be playing your spells proactively. I think I might just be joking. Dude, first day of class is so bad. It's just some uncountable 2 CMC spells. Dude, yeah, Force Negation, or sorry, not Force Negation. First day of I tested first day of class. Boy, was it bad. I got very debated. Play Sphinx's Rev. That's not a 2 mana spell. Let me leave up white so I could draw Ending, although not sure if I necessarily want Ending when they have the Blood Crypt up. Oh, these are cool. These are good cards. Yeah, I'll just leave both on top, and then we can consider casting Consider if we want to cast Ending next turn. If not, we can just slam Aria of Flame. Thoughts on Teferi in the side? Yeah, Teferi I think is a good sideboard option. I did decide to play like Flusterstorms instead, and it's also true like it is good against control decks, but you also like you need to have like prismatic endings and wear tears for control decks. So I'm worried about like also wanting to bring in Teferis and just having too many cards. You know, like over sideboarding can be a real problem for this deck. You know. But I do think Teferi is definitely a good option. We'll keep it in mind. Well, I think Lava Dart is actually. I mean, I don't think the Lava Dart command needs to be maybe that sassy. Where like I was pretty high on Lava Dart in the Is It versions, so I think it's like totally fine to try to talk about it. But I think that just like, there's just not enough support in this Jeskai version, and if you have Gutshot, you don't need the darts as much. Quad Charmaw sounds hefty. It is hefty, but Tron is also your worst matchup. Like Tron is just like a nightmare matchup for this deck, so I'm just trying to have a chance against it instead of auto losing. But it's also definitely true, and this is important to keep in mind for any brew, that yeah, let me just I guess I could target the DRC. That's probably fine actually. This is going to be true for any brew. Sideboards for new brews, they just take some time to get together perfectly. Like, it's very rare to just have, like, a perfect sideboard immediately. So, if anything, like, the sideboard and the mana base tends to be... Like, I actually think I need to play one more island and one less mountain. And we were talking about that earlier. Like sideboards and mana bases, these are usually, like, the best things to talk about when we're trying to improve deck lists. But they're also, like... the things that chat suggests the least because they are boring. It's probably fine. I think I'll cast one Consider now. Probably also casting the Salvaging. They're pretty dead. They're pretty dead. Do I want another Salvaging? I think no. Okay, I'll take my chance to bolt this. Sideboarding Ragavans is likely to have opponents citing out removal. I think that it might seem like your opponents are going to cite out targeted removal, but I don't think that, like, the thing about playing a deck like this is that people are not building your sideboards for your Demilich Phoenix deck. Removal is very good in Modern right now, and so it's like... people don't have 8 sideboard cards to bring in against you or 6 sideboard cards to bring against you, so they're going to have to leave in some removal. So, you do have creatures that like get unsummoned by removal, so it's not like Lightning Bolt is just dead against you, although it is weak against you. So I think that idea makes more sense in theory than in practice. What's the as important color fetch of the deck? I'm not sure. I think it's very close between blue and red. Yeah, but maybe I should probably switch the Arid Mesas to... we played 3 Flooded Strands. Although, oh no, I don't think there's... oh, I can just get Onslaught Flooded Strands. I've got the God account from the Gen Con thing. Cost $20 to get a God count for like a week. So I just have access to, you know, my deck can be whatever I want. 5, then 6. Yeah, so if we just draw any 1-mana spell, they're dead. Alright, deck's been feeling pretty good. It's not like a very hot take. We can keep this. Can maybe make a DRC command. We've been asked a lot about it. I've played DRC in older versions of this deck, but I'm not of the opinion that it's good in this variant. And I don't know if any mods have listened to me today or if you just tuned me out, which I wouldn't blame you, but maybe we can have someone summarize my thoughts. That might be for the best. -1 ending, -1 Gutshot, -1 Serum, -1 Salvaging. Yeah, I mean, I think I really like all of those, like just the numbers I have on those cards, but I do appreciate like suggesting which ones to trim. But just to briefly iterate, because I know a lot of people want it, like, obviously this is just something we're going to have to do is talk about it, which is fine. New deck, got to talk about it. the idea here behind not playing these cards. I'm not gonna play around Spell Pierce. Getting to loot 2 Phoenixes is great. The idea behind not playing these cards is that one, you turn on your opponent's creature removal in a way that you like. This version is very resilient to removal, where you're just playing Demilich and Phoenix. They're really good against Bolt, Heat, Ending, Push. Just like everything is a path to exile. Basically, your deck is resilient to, which is a really powerful place to be in Modern, right? So that's like kind of reason number one. Reason number two is it's very hard to get up to like specifically play Prismatic Ending. Like that kind of has to be the cut, because I think that you need like the 12 cheap cantrips are pretty important. I found in these decks the bolts are pretty important. You could trim 1 or 2 of these cards, but I think that they're really good. And then like the endings also like help out with like a lot of your hate cards too. So it just like it's just hard to make it all work. That lets us Mending this turn. Yeah, I think we could take one more turn to just mend, huh? We could try to find Gutshot, I guess. But I don't really want to play this into open mana. I could also maybe Bolt Monkey if they dash again. Probably should. Is Prismatic Ending replacing the spot Unholy Heat would have? I haven't historically played Unholy Heat in these decks. Like you actually don't get Delirium very easily in these decks. I guess I'll Bolt. Yeah, Delirium is probably much more difficult than you would expect. And like even when I've been playing Channeler, like the card is really not delirious that often, because you play so few creatures and you can't play Bauble with Phoenix Demilich. I found, and you know it's I'm honestly like this is maybe a good learning lesson that's a little more abstract here, right? But I've spent a lot of time play testing this archetype and playing these decks. So when we have new cards like Mending and Consider to play test, like I've already done a lot of like the legwork for the archetype, you know. So and I feel like very ready to, and like I have a lot of like already like pretty well cemented opinions, which is I think helpful for making decisions. All right, need to find a red 1-drop here, but I think I'm gonna Scour to try to hit that. We missed. So close to just like winning the game any turn now. 3 Phoenixes, Demilich in the yard, Demilich in the hand. Just need to chain a couple cantrips together. When to Lava Darts. I think in the Jeskai mana base it's harder to get like those mountains in play. And like if you have like you don't need Lava Dart that badly if you have Gutshot too. Although the card is good in the archetype. It's just like a lot worse in the 3-color version, I think. But also like even though I have these opinions, I'm still like very like this is the first league I've played, and I do think the deck's been going well, but it's still the first league. There's a lot of room for changes. Feels bad, man. The life gain from the Mendings have been pretty impactful, at least. How much life have we gained? 6? Yeah. No, one of these was exiled from Ragavan. What about Breach? Breach is unplayable in these decks. People will trick you into thinking, or maybe some people will trick themselves into thinking Breach is good, because it will be good on some turns, and it'll be insane on some turns, but those are turns where you have a lot of mana and a lot of resources, and you don't want to evaluate cards just when you have a lot of mana and a lot of resources. And those are the only games where Breach is good. And again, I also keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it until I die, I guess. But this deck has a really high mana curve, and any decision you make that like raises your mana curve, you need to be like very, very sure that that's a good decision. Pretty good turn here, huh? Pretty good turn. Just to see it felt awful. Just another data point. Thank you for that. I agree that it just wouldn't be that good in this deck. I think that's for the best too. DRC can't be good in every deck. Oh my! I guess I have to Gutshot now to get my 3rd Demilich back. 1, 2, 3. It's fine. I do lose my Mendings too. It's also important to note that like this is a higher variance deck where you have some turns where you get to do this. These are some of your turns. 3 Demiliches, 3 Phoenixes. And like be very resilient to counter spells and removal spells. And you have some turns that just kind of stink too, right? I think I just want to leave the Phoenixes back to block the Murktide. And you have some turns where you fizzle out and do nothing, right? And so that is the nature of playing Demilich Phoenix. You're a high variance deck. You're good against removal spells. You're good against small creatures. You're bad against big creatures. You're bad against 8 cards. It is what it is. Yeah, considering my hand a lot of open mana, I feel like I'm like kind of likely to be able to get back the Phoenixes. At the very least, I could maybe flashback consider with Demiliches and stuff. Let's make them use their resources here. Alright, 1 card left in their hand. How does a blue flying skull not fly? I've always felt like Demilich... Oh, we have a rebound too. I forgot about... I always feel like Demilich is like in the process of being formed. You know? Just like this art. I feel like it's being born, but I don't think that's supported by any, like, of the text. But that's always how I've interpreted it. What a turn. Caw! Caw! Kind of proud of myself for stacking those triggers so quickly. We're getting blue-white, Thought Scour ending. It's pretty good, huh? So with the 4th ending for their lanterns and graveyard hate. I might just sideboard like this. I'm not sure I want Flusterstorms here. Is it a Holy Goodness deck? No, Delirium's way harder to get than you might think. And you want ending over heat, kind of, to be able to deal with hate pieces. Yeah. You cast Demilich. You cast all those things in your attacker step there. It's all the same phase. I can keep this. Deck's feeling decent. Deck's definitely feeling decent. I will say, I played a lot of this deck, or decks like this, in the like post MH2 metagame. They always felt very close to good enough. Now we've got 2 new good enablers, Consider and Mending. Maybe the deck is good enough, right? Or like good enough to be like a reasonable choice, right? 1 basic island. I'm cutting the second mountain for another island, but also calling Demilich a blue spell is like super disingenuous, right? But I do think I've got the numbers on islands and mountains backwards. I had got a Lava Dart in the deck for a while, and then decided that I needed to cut it, and so like the mountain there is kind of like remnants of that I should have realized and cut. But yeah, but Lich is like basically never costs that much mana. Let's try to Consider for land. Consider's felt really good too so far. This is definitely like in like Control, Consider is like not gonna be a big upgrade over Opt. In this deck it is a big upgrade. King of the Limbs, 3 months, thanks buddy. Are there any situations where Spell Pierce is better than Flusterstorm? I think Spell Pierce is a better main deck card, and it's actually a pretty good main deck card. But Flusterstorm is specifically really good against Cascade decks, which is why you see it in the sideboard so often. I'll scour myself first. Hit a Mending, didn't hit anything else. I think I'm going to use one of my 2 Prismatic Endings on the Ragavan here. I know we've got the Gutshot. The Gutshot's good against Dash Ragavan. It's also good on turn 3 with Demilich. And it's also good if my opponent Spell Pierces this. Key limits 3 months, appreciate you, buddy. Does renewing sub for 3 months get you a deck tech? No, it doesn't. But I'm sorry that you lost your channel points. But I just, I hope that you understand. If I did a deck tech for every 3-month resub, the stream would be all deck techs, man. It would be all deck techs if we did a deck tech every resub. And I say this, of course, as I say everything, with Complete humility. Resubbing for the next 3 months? That's just not how it works, man. It's just not how it works. You get things for subscribing, right? For those months. You get no ads, you get the emotes. You already get things. Hopefully we'll have a good turn next turn. Any new spice to the Gensack deck? I mean, there's a couple of cards that are kind of interesting, but I don't think that any of them are better than our usual options. I mean, I think the Gensack deck's really good right now. Emotes Ruffle. Emotes that I spend a lot of time and money and effort putting, making and commissioning and spending money on. Emotes Ruffle. Emotes cringe. A lot of care and effort and inside jokes over the years. Emotes, those are worth nothing. You've spent hundreds of dollars on these emotes over the years. I think it's kind of bad to draw bad here. Jenny gifting 2 subs, thanks buddy. Assume that's for a deck tech. So I think we can get this Phoenix back this turn. We do get to double Demilich though. Guess we can also cash in this Thought Scour to try to find another one. We did find another one. Mr. Rackham, 4 months, thanks buddy. There is a Clothless emote that I spent like, I can't remember how much I spent on that one, but I did commission it recently. It's there. Is Thassa's Infrastructure better than Memory Deluge? I don't think so, no. But we'll try to test that out later, unless this deck just ends up being too sick and we play it all day. Mike the Knights, 4 months. Appreciate you, buddy. Okay, let's go attacking. Should you build this deck for FNM? Yeah, I think so, if you're interested in it. I guess I'll go Ending Bolt so I can flashback Mending. How did Elves go yesterday? It went okay. It felt like the Rite of Harmony was fine in the deck. It didn't necessarily feel like it was a big upgrade, and it also felt like the deck wasn't necessarily doing anything better than Elves usually does. So then doing is just hands above Charter Course. I guess I don't know exactly what you mean by just hands. That's not an expression I'm familiar with, but it's better. Yeah, I think it's better. Well, Flusterstorm is the Prismatic Ending. Modern Staple is a charm. I have considered it. I don't think it's quite good enough. So I think we would main phase flashback the Mending so we can guarantee that sweet 2 life, huh? You have to go to 4, then we go up to 6. I guess we're still dead to Bolt either way. So maybe we Thought Scour instead to try to find an answer to the Channeler. Not quite an answer. I guess I'll just cast this for a mana so that I can replay the Demilich. And then one of the 2 Mendings. I probably don't need to keep this Prismatic Ending. Did the Bolt. Striker Rich is really unplayable, I'm sorry. When you say it's also sorcery for DRC, it's I'm already not playing DRC, so like that's another card you have to add and change. And Striker Rich, that card is very weak. That card is very very weak. I have tested it, and I just that card is like very very underpowered. Just buy your time for Bring to Light to take over the game by itself, but a very cool idea to combine these two decks. I feel like you're playing too many commands. This is kind of my one thing I see here. I think I would play no more than three total between Kogan, Prismari. I love Culling Ritual a lot. This deck is really cool. I probably will cut one of the commands, probably the second Prismari command for the 4th Drown. This deck is super cool. It looks like your mana is like very good too. Obviously, like or as good as it can be for a deck like this. Dude, we played against all like I think every single round has been DRC recommended. We played against one control deck, but we were, I think we have a good matchup against these decks, which is also like another thing to note when we're doing well here. We've played against all like favorable matchups. Oof, it's pretty good. Let me cast Consider here. Maybe I should have played off this Canal in case I found Prismatic Ending. But I think we're gonna have to take a hit. Your sideboard looks solid to me too, man. I would probably play the second Flusterstorm, probably 3 Flusterstorms, because I just do think the Cascade decks can be tough matchups for this archetype. I like to see more explosives too. You're also a Luris deck. So I'll probably cut the Veil of Summer, the Aether Goddess for like 2 more explosives, the Mystical Dispute, and maybe the Damnation for more Flusterstorms. And maybe the Damnation's fine too. But sick list, man. Sick list. Have you thought about Cleansing Wild for Charmaw? I mean, Charmaw is like a much more higher impact card against Tron, and Cleansing Wildfire is a little bit more synergistic in this deck. But Charmaw is just like, that card is like nuts against Tron. Dude, my opponent's draw has been pretty good, huh? Ragavan, Spell Pierce into Jace. Sick. They could be more Blue Moony. Will Grixis and Luris still be tier decks if it's Luris' ban? Obviously, if I were able to perfectly predict the metagame post ban, I mean, I don't know, I would be in the stock market. Middle over 2 Manamorphose feels kind of bad. It's really difficult to like say with complete accuracy what a metagame will look like post ban because things just change so much. There's so many moving pieces. That being said, I do think you can still find ways to make the deck playable, but I can't tell you what tier, Okay, so I think we're supposed to Salvaging so we can Phoenix here. Another Gut Shot lets me kill the Jace. Instead, we'll just kill the Ragavan. Charmaw comes to turn out, turn 3 on the draw. Doesn't seem good enough against them. Maybe. Wildfire is also not, like, this card does not just stop Tron either. Like, it buys you a turn. We also have Prismatic Ending, which is surprisingly good to slow down Tron. And we also have like 1 copy of Alpine Moon. We have got some Wear Tears against E-Tron. But I agree with you. I agree with you that Charmaw on the draw can be too slow. And so like maybe on the draw you need to have Prismatic Ending into Charmaw. But it also kind of is what it is, right? I think it's just kind of the nature of Because you discard the Tarn? Maybe I should cast Consider in response. I think I'll just discard the Tarn. Okay, Consider in response would have really worked out, huh? That is why I thought about I did consider it, huh? Right, Graveyard Canal. Prismatic Ending DRC pre-combat, because if they don't want to bolt the Phoenix now, they're going to bolt after I attack. Rip Arcburb, thank you for Twitch Prime. You just played your first ever MTGO game, so you got wrecked. Well, GG's, buddy. I think you played well, though. Like, I think that Charmaw is the best red card against Tron. I'll say this. I think Obsidian Charmaw is the best modern sideboard card against the Tron deck. In red. But also, like, there is no one singular card that just yeets the deck out of existence. Dude, my opponent's draw has been really good, and we're still just kind of ahead here. Although that can flip if they Murktide me. Yeah, we're talking about an Obsidian Charmaw. Yeah, but it's also like cleansing Wildfire just slows them down for a turn and costs 2 mana to slow them down for a turn. Better than Blood Moon. I don't think this deck can afford to play Blood Moon, but I think it is better than Blood Moon. Yeah, where like both are like too slow on the draw a lot of the times, but Charmaw is like the fact that it kills a land and is like really fast pressure is so important, right? Because like Blood Moon there's no pressure against Tron. Alpine Moon is no pressure against Tron. Wildfire, Damping Sphere, all of these cards have the problem. Full Meter Mage is that they slow them down for a turn, but you're not applying pressure, and you're taking a turn off to slow them down. So it ends up not accomplishing as much as you'd like it to because you take a turn off and they end up taking a turn off, and maybe they stumble because you blow up their lands, right? But the fact that Charmaw also puts a clock in play, it really flips the script on the card here. All right, we want that. Red source would be good, but this is fine. Phil, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Charmaw about an Alpine Moon? Yeah, it is. It is. Like, in a more general sense, it is. Like, we could maybe have a different split. I do have one Alpine Moon, because I do think that you still want, like, at least the first against the Saga decks and the Tron decks. But, again, no other Tron hate puts pressure in play, and Charmaw's a lot of pressure. It's a 4/4 flyer. And like I think that that's like a really underrated aspect of this card is that compared to every other Tron hate, this one actually like kills your opponent too, which is like a lot of the ways you lose. You just play Blood Moon and then they O-stone you. Alpine Moon doesn't cost you a turn. It costs you your turn 1 a lot, or at least it costs you half a turn. But yeah, right. But I feel like my point still stands. Alpine Moon like often costs you a turn, or like at least half a turn. How good are we in the Elementals matchup? I don't know. Solitude and Endurance seem pretty good against us. Spike is right. That's all you need to get VIP is say Spike is right, but nobody ever says it. Then let's discard another Salvaging. And then we can go bolt them, cast Demilich for a mana. Then we have to keep bringing these Phoenixes back, but it's easy, right? I think Murktide should play Charmaw as Tron hate or choice to mana intensive. Well, Murktide has a good Tron matchup. Blue-Red Murktide has a favorable Tron matchup, so it doesn't need to compensate that hard with Charmaw, in my opinion. And Alpine Moon or Blood Moon gives you more game against Urza Saga decks, which Blue-Red can kind of struggle against. So that's kind of my evaluation of Blue-Red's Tron hate. Can we win from the spot? We can, but we're pretty behind. Isn't Charmaw bad on the draw versus Tron? Would counter like Rejection or Stroke be better? Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's like, these cards, like Disdainful Stroke, Rejection, they just buy you a turn. They can be good, but they like, you know, like all of them have weaknesses, and it can't like if they have turn 3 Tron plus Karn Liberated, Charmaw is like likely to be too slow, but it's also like I think you just have to get a little bit lucky, and it's not like Rejection is not 1 mana win the game. Stroke is not 2 mana win the game. All of these cards have weaknesses. Okay, we don't get our Phoenixes back, and we lose. Is it Murktide better in this deck over Demilich? It's not. Lich is like really cracked. I've tested it. It's not, in my opinion. All right, I think this is what I did last time. I think I like this sideboard plan. Yeah, it's just like being on the draw against Tron just stinks, you know. And you can get a little lucky. Honestly, if you have Prismatic Ending and you can Prismatic Ending a map or a sphere and just slow them down for a turn, then Charmaw is fast enough, right? Or if you have your Alpine Moon, or maybe you Flusterstorm like Sylvan Scrying and then go Charmaw. But it's also like, but it's like, yes, Charmaw's too slow on the draw sometimes. There's no card in Modern that just like is going to be single-handedly beating them. You know what I mean? Every single piece of Tron hate has weaknesses. Oh, this hand's so good if we draw a land, but I have to send it back. keep this. Yeah, their draw was really good. We almost won too. The turn 2 Ragavan plus Spell Pierce was bananas, huh? It's a good draw. Good draw on top with the Mending too. Isn't Break the Ice Overload in the game? I mean, that's 6 mana, right? What are we talking about? we just arguing to argue now. Actually, if you overload Break the Ice, that ends the game against Tron Spike. Just need a measly 6 mana. I played in my mono black Tron deck. I think I'm gonna main phase the Salvaging. I think I would probably play Path Exile instead for the Murktide matchup, but I've also like you can beat Murktide just by like bringing back Phoenixes over and over again. How do you feel about Mono Red Phoenix? I like the deck. You know, obviously I put a lot of work into it at the beginning of MH2. I think it's underplayed. Mono Black trying to destroy the own lands and overload Break the Ice. Oh no, I've been had. Might discard the Mending here. A little bit of value, right? Alright, so that's 2 spells cast. So I think I'm gonna go Manamorphose like this, with the hopes that my opponent counters it, and I can Prismatic Ending the Monkey, and then still get my Phoenix back. They did not counter. So it looks like I am going to get to Demilich. I've cast 3 instants or sorceries so far. I'll keep one of these 2 Salvagings. Manamorphose Demilich, we can keep those 2. And I'll try to ending this. Him or Mana Twist? You mean Mind Twist? I think that him would be better in Modern than Mind Twist because there's just not like the acceleration. There's not like the cheap artifact ramp. What are the league's matchups? We lost to 4-color Shadow, then we beat Blue-White Control, then we beat Grixis Dress Down Shadow, then we beat Blue-Red Murktide, now we're down a game against Blue-Red Murktide. I have really liked this, just the way that this deck is very resilient to creature removal by not playing DRC or Murktide. I mean, Murktide's like resilient to removal too, but this build has felt very good so far. I do need to cut the second mountain for the second island, and we're going to do that for next league. Are we seeing Willowgeist? I'm not as smart as Sodek. I haven't cracked the code on Willowgeist. Sodek posted a pretty spicy screenshot of like, he said turn 3 Willowgeist with it was like a 7/7 or something. I guess I just get basic mountain. It was pretty cool. I hope he posts a list soon. I'm waiting with anticipation. No. I guess we can still cast 1 Demilich. So let's get back. Exile a Manamorphose, a Salvaging, a Visions, and another Visions. Any thoughts on Prismari Command over one of the Wear Tears? I mean, I think Wear Tears is generally better. It is a cool thought that Prismari Command synergizes with the deck with the looting effect, though. So I don't hate the thought. Or they reveal Relic, and if they have an untapped lands, it's pretty bad for us. They do have an untapped land. Where we play Manamorphose in response to cast Salvaging for value. Well, if you respond to Salvaging with Manamorphose, you draw the card first, and you still have to discard the card, right? Oh, this was maybe a big mistake to not have the Relic activation up. Because I have this rebounded Salvaging too, so I have like a pretty good chance to get some stuff back here, right? We'll see. 1 spell. Guess not. I should probably cast the Mending for the higher upside, but we're kind of likely to miss. Oh, we hit really hard. Oh wait, did we? guess just getting super punished by the second mountain, which will change for the next league. So I guess I have to go discard Consider, discard... I guess I could discard the lands, and then... No, I have to keep the island to cast the Demilich. Here we go. Gut shot them, get back Phoenix, get back a Demilich by playing blue. You have Mending? I don't have Mending. What are you talking about? I can't flash... I don't know what you mean. I can't Mending this turn. Keep Consider. Yo. Hit a spell. I don't know. We have to hit a red spell, though. I feel like that's just, like, a bit too greedy when we still get a Demilich and a Phoenix back this way. Right? Yeah, we can't cast Mending this turn. Demilich doesn't have haste. Maybe that was the confusion. Could have cast a gut shot with mana. Oh, that's true, yeah. That's true. They Thought Scour targeting me. Thought Scour targeting me. I guess that makes sense. But wait, shouldn't they just pop the relic first? And then Thought Scour themselves? Yeah, we should have paid red mana for the gut shot. That was a mistake. Any blue-red white escape spells? There's Ox of Agonis. That one's okay. Can Crimson Wisps be a thing in this brew? There's gotta be something better than Crimson Wisps. But I don't think so. Like, it's like you could play. I've tried like first day of class in these decks in the past, and those cards just tend to be worse when you draw them rather than like good as like an enabler to make Demilich hasty. Like when Demilich just comes back from the graveyard for 0 mana, or just comes back from the graveyard after they kill it, it's just like a good value. You know, the card you don't need to like play weaker cards to make this card better than it is in this deck. The card's pretty strong. Why are there no iteration? I guess it's a bit awkward. Phoenix and Demilich. Yeah, we've talked a lot about this. We are playing the maximum amount of 2 mana spells in this deck. 8, you don't count Manamorphose. 8 is the maximum amount you can play. You can't play more than 8. Iteration is even like a 3 mana spell sometimes, and your deck is just too slow if you play more than 8. We have to keep this on the draw against Murktide. Is Aria to bring in versus control? Not really control so much as decks that don't have answers to Aria. I think we could be bringing it in this matchup, but it was like, I think it's good against like the Red-Black X mid-range decks specifically. We did win a game with it earlier. It's kind of generally nice to have access to, especially in these kind of more early drafts. White Source at the top would be really good. In these early drafts, awesome. That have, that we don't know exactly how to build the sideboard yet, where when you have a new brew like this, even though I've played versions like this in the past, when you have a new brew like this, it can be hard to figure out exactly how you want to build the sideboard because you don't know exactly what you need to compensate for. And so, like, right now I have 4 Charmaws because I believe Tron to be a really hard matchup, and I believe Charmaw to be the best option, but that opinion could definitely change in the future. Play 1 maximum velocity, Demilich, have less spell pitch. Yeah, I think velocity would be fine. You'd probably cut a salvaging for that, but salvaging is really good, and velocity is also only good on Demilich, right? You only have 4 cards in the deck that velocity is good with, where like you have very few creatures to target with it. So that's kind of my concern with playing maximized velocity in this deck. Shigadaddy, 13 months, thanks buddy. Glad you liking the stream still. Yeah, Murktide has been playing Relic. They killed us with 2 Murktides in game 1, but yeah, Murktide's been playing Relic. Think of Esper Stoneblade in new meta? I might try it, and you know, might continue to not like it. We'll see. I hope I like it. I want to like it. All right, I put in Mr. Land Drop. I'm down to be, you know, just play this a little bit slowly. Yeah, I know you're a Crackling Drake stan, Ross, but it's just like, it's just so hard to raise the mana value of this deck. Like, the mana value is already so high with all these 2 mana looters. Is Otherworldly Gaze playable in Sacred Visions? I'm of the opinion that Otherworldly Gaze is not modern playable. I could be wrong. But that's my current take, is that card is just not good enough. Just to, just not drawing a card is such a problem. But I could be wrong. Okay, so I guess we go... Let's see what we draw, but I'll probably go Bolt, cast Demilich. Can only cast one. It's fine, I guess. Advantage of playing new looting and third color over a card like Izzet Charm. Izzet Charm is kind of nice that you get the versatility, but the flashback on Mending is what makes it so strong in a deck like this compared to Izzet Charm. The flashback really, really matters. It really, really matters. All right, blue, 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 blue. I should have got Fountain. I see a lot of CMC gang in the chat, but I'm very firmly mana value gang. Yeah, the life gain is like actually like people kind of seems like they're treating salvaging or mending like the life gain isn't part of the card, but the life gain is like actually very much an impactful part of that card. Okay, I guess let's cast this for blue blue. Do I want to hold this gut shot, or do I want to leave something better in the yard? I think I'll just hold it. Just so good against the Ragavan deck to have a gut shot up, you know. You draw some Thought Scours. Monkey, monkey. Caw. It's not a bad draw at all. Caw. Not a bad draw at all. Monkey. Jace. Probably plus. Puts a card on the bottom, which is what we needed to have happen. I have no idea what Lurch does. I don't know what card you're talking about with Lurch. Any Lurchers in the chat? Okay, I'll keep Manamorphose. Let's make blue-red. One more cantrip gives us a Demilich back. How about an Arid Mesa, huh? Hold it to discard to looting effect. Do you think Demilich would be better with haste? No, it would be worse if it was the exact same card but also had haste. Actually, it would be worse. It would be a lot worse if it was this card with haste. Phoenix would be worse if it was this card with Annihilator 6. Yeah, I wouldn't be playing this if it was the same card with haste. No! Probably dead. Unaffected by summoning sickness. Ooh. Yeah, screw haste! Unaffected by summoning sickness, gang. Play defense to shuffle because Jace? Yeah, we should do that. Although I think they're going to brainstorm again. Oh, they plessed. Wow. You're right. Wait, it didn't say top or bottom. Look at top card. It didn't say. It said last time, I thought. We're not beating Murktide. Yeah, but it says. I guess you can't see the game log here. But it just doesn't say. Activate ability. Look at top card. Yeah, it doesn't say if it went on the top or bottom. That's really bad. I don't know if that's like a new bug or something. Okay, so 3-2 the first league. I think that means they left it on top. Okay. I think you're right. It's not intuitive, though. Bad that it's phrased that way, but I think you are right. Okay, so I think I like the. I did make this change real quick. Let's run it back. That felt pretty good. With just.